Hi, I'm Becky Rabii, owner and executive chef at Vino restaurant, and we are preparing a meal for you tonight for BirminghamRestaurants.com, and we're going to have Moroccan couscous and pan-seared shrimp and scallops, which is wonderful. And we hope you'll come join us and have some at our restaurant, and then try to make it at home as well. I've been sauteing some onions till they are clear and translucent because the couscous does take a little bit longer, and we're going to season it with some Mediterranean spices. I'm going to put it on the back burner right now. But I've done the onions, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, we've got sultana, which is a Mediterranean golden raisin, and some roasted pistachios. And this takes about a half a cup each. I'm going to pour that in there. And we shall stir it up a little bit. And we let this simmer for a few minutes. Get those flavors together real good. And I had just covered the bottom of the pan with oil. I don't like to use too much oil. And we try to use olive oil where it's applicable. Otherwise we use a canola oil most of the time. And then the next thing we're going to add is 1 or 2 tablespoons of butter, which if you prefer you can substitute a good tasting margarine. And then we have a pinch of cinnamon and about a 1/4 teaspoon each of cumin and coriander and turmeric. And we're going to stir that up and go ahead and add, this is about a tablespoon of lemon juice, which we squeeze fresh. We'll stir that up and let the butter melt. And little by little, you're going to see the raisins start to plump up. It'll take them a few minutes, but they will start to plump up. And that's our objective right now. And we will, supply the recipes. You can do this at home. You can alter some of these spices. This is just a very nice blend of spices that we use that has a wonderful flavor. And at first I didn't care for it as much, but the more you eat it, it grows on you. And these spices do so well together. And then the last thing we're going to do, we usually use a vegetable stock in our couscous. So what we're going to do now is pretty much let these plump up a little bit. The raisins they're just now starting to plump up some. So we've got about a cup of vegetable stock, which you can make if you have the things in your kitchen to do so, or you can actually buy these at a grocery store. They have a couple of brands that are actually really good. You're going to stir that up and let it come to a boil and let it simmer for 2 or 3 minutes. Those raisins will finish plumping up. Once it comes to a good simmer, then what we're going to do is add a half a cup of couscous and a lid to it and turn the heat off. And 15, 20 minutes later it is ready to eat. You just fluff it with a fork, which I'll show you. But it's just now starting to simmer a little bit, which is what we want it to do. And as long as we're just waiting for this to simmer real good, when you go to buy your seafood, luckily here in Birmingham we have several good seafood counters that you can buy fresh, good seafood. Gulf, all the way from the northeast coast, just a variety, but they have a very good variety in Birmingham at some of the seafood markets. The scallops you want to beware, you want them to be like a creamy white or a light white. And because if they're grayish, then they've put a preservative in it, which makes them more chewy and not as tasty. And we try to do everything either organic or as close to it or with no preservatives added and fresh. Which, like I said, there are several seafood markets in Birmingham you can do that. You can pick up scallops, shrimp, and today we're using naturally browned shrimp from the Gulf, which are my favorite. I always have enjoyed them. That is simmering right now, so I'm going to grab a lid in just a minute and turn that heat off. We're ready to pour in the couscous, and we just pour it in We don't stir it. Turn the heat off and put on a lid. And in 15 or 20 minutes, this will be absolutely delicious and ready to serve up. Because seafood cooks better, I think, quick and simple. And I just covered the bottom of the pan with oil. If you want more flavor that butter gives, you can use butter, but we don't use butter too much here. We try to keep it as healthy and good as we can. And I usually start, what I've done is I have seasoned up some shrimp and some good plump scallops, not huge scallops, but we use a pretty good sized scallop. And I've seasoned it with a combination of cayenne, garlic powder and chili powder, and lightly. Otherwise you get, if you want it really spicy, just douse it really good with that combination. And I usually start with the scallops first, because they take a little bit longer. The shrimp can easily be overcooked, as well as the scallops. But the scallops, you need to cook them like 2 to 4 minutes, depending on the heat on each side. So once we flip the scallops, then we'll go ahead and add the shrimp, which I don't know if I mentioned it, but we do use the brown shrimp from the Gulf. We like the texture and the flavor of those better than most of the others. Okay, this is about the time I'm going to go ahead and add these shrimp. And like I said, you want to be a little careful not to overcook the shrimp, because they do cook very, very fast. And I'm going to pour that oil back in. They take a very short time, actually. Flip these one more time. I think those shrimp are about done too. Now we're going to set these aside, and the rest of the process is very quick, actually. Right now we're serving it with cubed roasted butternut squash. And to reheat this, we've already seasoned it and roasted it ahead of time in the oven. And we just throw it in here to heat it up. As hot as that is, we've probably got it. And the last step is some fresh spinach leaves. And depending upon how many people you're serving, this is probably 2 to 3 cups. And this has to go extremely fast, because you don't want it totally wilted. You just want to kind of toss it in there, and it will shrink up quite a bit. And we alter a little bit with a scallop and a shrimp. Okay, and when the couscous is done, it actually looks like it's not, but all you do is take your fork, fluff it up, because if you let it cook too long, it's going to actually stick together in big clumps and be a little mushy. This will be, as couscous goes, al dente, I suppose you might say. And then we try to make it a little bit fancy when we go to serve it. We use these little bowls as a mold. Couscous. Okay. Then we're going to put spinach. We're going to put this right in the middle. Turn the lemons around, because I know I'd be lost without a fresh lemon or so. And this is our Moroccan couscous with pan-seared shrimp and scallops. And you've got to come try it. And then once you know what it's supposed to taste like, go home and try it with the recipe with it.